All right, so still on that Predator Hemi, big block. Just wanted to stop. I forgot to video before I went crazy and did all the work on this. So last time you seen it, I just put the weld in it. It's been raining and muggy out for the last couple of days, so it has some porosity up in here. Nothing that's going to affect it. The head gasket is outside of that. This is going to be at least on a 90mm bore. What I have here, this is a head gasket to a GX390, so this is 88mm. So if I line this up like that, you can see that all the porosity is inside of the head gasket area. And this is 88, so a 90mm or a 92mm bore. Even if this went on a GX390, it's not a problem. But especially on the sides, 100%, down here 100%, and the only area that the gasket's on up here is way above that. Usually where it gets the porosity is right where the weld rod catches up to the cast. Usually the weld rod itself is fine, so you'll see it on the edge here. You'll see it down on the edge where the rod's tying into the bowl. But yeah, I mean, so far I have just radius milled them. Actually, I just took it off the flow bench. And a couple of things, if you're doing a hemi, is after I took it off, there was like a peak here that came up, almost like this. Peak here, and there was a peak here, but if you had looked through, it was plain and easy for me to see it on the flow bench because I'm looking down this tube while the smoke and everything is going through it. I'm getting my readings, but what you're seeing over here is this back one. But this one here, I'll keep my finger on it. You can no longer see it. If I take my finger off, you can't see it. If I run my finger along it, you can't see it. There was a big protruding peak that came out an extra, basically like 1/4 inch. You can see the area that I had taken it off, and that just taking this off picked up 10 CFM. Now right now I'm just flowing the combustion chamber. Basically I'm not doing it for a CFM, total CFM number yet. I'm basically flowing it for the smoke to see how the smoke comes down, travels through the cylinder head, and how it interacts with the chamber and how it directs it down into the cylinder. One thing I was noticing was that when I was looking up through the mirror on the flow bench, and I could see it inverted, see through the cylinder, the clear cylinder, I could see the smoke hitting and causing turbulences and eddies rolling off of that area there. I also did notice them in this area as well. So I think I'm going to go and relieve a little bit of this sharp edge here and bring that back. Maybe, let me see if I can mark it out. I might try to bring this back something like this. Something like this ought to really, I mean, it's a little bit of material, so I mean, when I'm doing these, I'm thinking about flow as the number one thing, and I'm thinking about my compression ratio too. You don't want to, you could just keep removing more and more material, as you think it's in the way, but a lot of times something that you think is really disturbing flow isn't. The rule of thumb for flow around a valve is 200 thousandths of an inch. So these are just some valves. I got a 38 and a 34 here. So I'll throw these in for you. I'll throw in the intake for you. So that's a 38 intake. And what can I show you here? Let me open this valve a little bit. See if I can do this somehow. Let's see if I can use this. Okay, I was able to prop that up a little bit. Now, what you need is 200 thousandths, a minimum of 200 thousandths around the valve. And that 200 thousandths is the area you need to have a free flowing cylinder head. Anything less than 200 thousandths and you basically have restriction. So as you can see here, we got the 200 thousandths. Goes around nice and easy all around the valve. So we're not really, even though you would kind of visualize this as being right in the way, you know, when you look up through this valve as it opens, you know, you could see that red line I drew. Now, that red line that I drew, you see it all the way, it's going to affect flow all the way through there. So now, that red line I drew, you got to think, this is a very little bit of material here. Let me draw another. Probably it'll end up like this. So, to remove that little bit of material, that's maybe not even a half of a cc. And if I take that material out there, that'll pick up enough flow in that area, or enough cross flow during overlap. That's what these hemi heads are great at. With the right cam, these things really pick up and flow like monsters. With the right cam, these things, I mean, the numbers I've seen and portrayed just in small block heads, you know, this to me is the first time I've seen a big block welded head. So, you know, I came in, cut the radius bowls already, had it on the flow bench a couple times, removed some material down here, marked that and removed that. Now I'm just marking this, I'm going to remove that. Then I'll be pretty much happy with the combustion chamber. After that, I'll probably start on the porting, probably remove the guides, start on the porting, and then cut the seats and bring the head down, have it milled, or actually cut the seats, polish the chamber, polish the ports, and then bring it down and have it milled. Or rather put the guides in, do the seats, you know, the normal process. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the work that's going on. This is a big block hemi head. This thing is going to be real promising. Yeah, Paul from Paul's Karts, just bringing you guys the welded hemi head, stage 2, combustion chamber shaping. All right, so the next thing you'll see is the porting. All right, guys, Paul from Paul's Karts.